No, these are mine.
Yeah. Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2025 to the News Record and Star Ledger in December of 2024, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Mr. Deffis, Mr. DeLuca,
I'm here virtually.
Ms. Engel,
Here.
Herman,
Present.
Mayor Adams.
Here.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public. And whereas Section 7A provides that the governing body has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting, and whereas desire the governing body to comply with the provision of this act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner, now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee, Township Maplewood does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in a formal agenda, active participation in the deliberations of the governing body by the public, and except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public to the observation of the actions and discussions of the governing body at all of its regular and special meetings.
Moved.
Second.
Ms. Engel,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes. Please rise for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almost forgot the words. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, March 4th, 2025 meeting of the Maplewood Township Committee. In honor of Women's History Month, we have banned the men on the Township Committee from attending this meeting. No, not quite. Mr. DeLuca is not feeling well, and we thank him for not getting anyone else sick, and Mr. Daffis is on vacation, so. But thank you all for coming. This is so wonderful from here. I got to take a picture to look at all the women wearing white. It's fabulous. So thank you for taking the time tonight. Just a quick review of tonight's meeting. We have a proclamation, as you might be aware, for Women's History Month. We have, then we'll pause for the Wear White for Women photo. Then we have boards and committee assignments for the zoning board. We have James Fant to be reappointed. Then we'll move into our Board of Health meeting. Then we'll go to public comment for agenda items only. We have introductions of 2 ordinances on for the agenda. And then we have administrative reports, Mr. Wary, Ms. Credidio, and Ms. Fritzen. We will have reports from elected officials, Deputy Mayor Herman, Committee Member DeLuca, Committee Member Engel, and then I go last. Then we have the consent agenda, public comment on any subject matter, and then we will adjourn. So we have some short agenda, almost intentionally, so that we can take all the time we want for the important thing of recognizing women, and in particular tonight, women who are elected themselves or who have served in an elected role in our community in the past. So I would love all the elected women who have served our community to join me at the podium for the proclamation. We've done this a few times now, so y'all know you got a whereas clause to read. So thank you. I won't put you in any order. Oh, wait, Kathy, you brought that bag of, yeah, you wanted to give them out. Look at y'all. You're all so formal and well behaved. Mary, you're supposed to come up. You remember you were an elected official once. All right, you already know you're first. That's great. So Kathy Leventhal brought these for us. to offer. More. And you can pass them out among those who are here for the picture all the way around. No. Ready when you are, Assemblywoman.
Hey, first of all, I'd like to say good evening to everybody and thank you for coming out. I'm Assemblywoman Garnett Hall. I represent the 28th District, which includes Maplewood, South Orange, Irvington, Hillside, and the West and South Ward of Newark, and just a sliver of the Central Ward. So thank you for your attention tonight.
So much more formal now.
Know how many times I had to say that? Whereas, from the first settlers who came to our shore and those native communities who befriended them, men and women have worked together to build this nation. Too often, the women were unsung, and their contributions went unnoticed. But the leadership, courage, and strength of the women who built America were as vital as vital as that of the men whose names we've known so well. And
Here, you go.
Celia King. Whereas the National Women's History Month theme for 2025 celebrates moving forward together, women educating and inspiring generations. This theme celebrates the collective strength and influence of women who have dedicated their lives to education, mentorship, and leadership. Through their efforts, they have served as an inspiration for all generations, both past and present. And
Celia King was vice mayor. Can you guys all introduce what position you served? So before you.
I'm
I
Kathy
should go to
Leventhal.
them.
Kathy Leventhal, I was deputy mayor. Whereas,
And served for 12 years on the.
and served for 12 years on the township.
Worthy.
In Maplewood, right here. Whereas, during 2025, we recognize the example of Maplewood and South Orange women who are committed to embracing everyone and excluding no one in our common quest for freedom and opportunity. They know that our kids need to learn the value of hearing from different voices with different points of view as they grow up. And
Did this one-sided.
she's not, she's sick.
Oh, okay, they're sick. Would you mind reading, Shannon?
Thank you.
This is on behalf of Shannon Cuddle. They are sick this
Yes.
evening and
And they served on the Board of Education. Whereas American women of every race, class, ethnic background, and sexual identity have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in so many ways. And women from diverse backgrounds have been at the forefront of efforts to address systemic inequities and promote a more inclusive society. And
Sheena Collins, South Orange Mayor since 2015, whereas for the first time in the history of our towns, the mayors of Maplewood and South Orange are both female, and the governing bodies of both towns are majority female, each Each of these women's stories will shape what will be the history of Maplewood and South Orange as they bring a woman's perspective to governing and bring their histories together to craft the kind of world where equality is not a rare occurrence, but it is the norm. And Karen?
I'm Karen Hilton. I serve on the South Orange Town Council. Whereas American women have played a unique role throughout the history by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force, American women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of the life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. And
Where Malia Herman, Deputy Mayor in Maplewood since January. Whereas Women's History Month, or rather Women's Herstory Month, is a time to remember those who fought and many who fought and died to make freedom as real for our daughters as for our sons. They were driven by a faith that our union could extend true equality to every citizen willing to claim it. And Stephanie?
I'm Shayna Sackett-Gable, current Board of Education member. Whereas year after year, visionary women met and marched and mobilized to prove what should have been self-evident. They created a movement that touched every community and took on our highest institutions. And after decades of slow, steady progress, women have written equal opportunity into the law again and again, giving generations of girls a future worthy of their potential. And
Deborah Davis Ford, former trustee of South Orange, which are now called council people. Whereas American women have been leaders not only in securing their rights of equal opportunity, but also in the abolishment movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and more, to create a more fair and just society for all. Their long fought movement finally succeeded in 1920 with the ratification of the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, finally giving women the right to vote.
Hi, I'm Deb Engel, Maplewood Township Committee since 2023. Whereas, and former deputy mayor. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Whereas, just like the nation, the women's suffragist movement was fraught with racism and discrimination toward Black suffragists, particularly when white suffragist leaders were trying to appeal to leaders in the Jim Crow South for women's national voting rights. Black suffragists preserved as they fought not only for the rights of women to vote, but of Black women and men. We recognize and honor their unparalleled commitment in fighting for rights for all women. And
Olivia Lewis Chang, present council member, South Orange. Whereas the legacy of the change is all around us. Women are more than half of our population and our nation's workforce, and more than half of all college graduates. But even now, women still face a pay gap at work or discrepancies in health insurance or inadequacies options for health leave. These issues affect all of us, and failing to address them holds our country back. And whereas
Hi, Summer Jones. I am actually a councilwoman for South Orange. This is my second term. I've been in since 2019. Whereas medical research, while showing some improvement, has for decades focused on men, ignoring women, and particularly women of color. In fact, medical research in many areas, including cardiovascular disease, which kills more women than men, often excludes women subjects. This disparity in research by gender has resulted in misdiagnoses and incorrect treatment of women, causing more women fatalities. And
Hi, Liz Callahan, current Board of Education member. Whereas too often women continue to experience sexual discrimination and harassment in the workforce, holding them prisoners to male power, being stepped over for promotions and positions of authority, and limiting their ability to advance and thrive in their careers. When women do not speak up or are strong opinion, they are not given the same respect or validity as their male counterparts. And whereas, as we celebrate and recognize Women's History Month, we include the contributions of women and allies in the LGBTQ+ community who came before us and who have fought for equality, like New Jersey trailblazer Marsha P. Johnson, and those who are making history now. We also pause to remember the victims lost to fatal anti-transgender violence, who are mostly Black and Brown transgender women.
India Larrier, former president of the Board of Health in Maplewood and two-term committee woman. Hi, India. Whereas, even having finally reached the White House in our last Vice President Kamala Harris, women are still not fully or adequately represented at the top tables of organizations, corporations, and local, state, and national houses of government, and are therefore not being heard, leaving a woman's important perspective unrepresented when laws and policies are decided on in local, state, and federal levels. And Shana.
Shana Sackett-Gable again.
Women are very flexible.
Whereas our history shows that we can stay true to our founding creed that in America, all things should be possible for all people. That spirit is what called our mothers and grandmothers to fight for a world where no wall or ceiling could keep their daughters from their dreams. Although we still have much to do to make our opportunities brighter, we recognize the accomplishments of women who fought for our rights now and in the past, and pledge to keep advocating for equality and
Mary Thoreau, good evening. Mary Thoreau, I'm a former South Orange trustee. Whereas we encourage our communities, schools, and organizations to celebrate the achievements of women, and especially those who have championed equity, diversity, and inclusion, and reaffirm our commitment to advancing these principles in our society. Let's teach our children about women's accomplishments and honor those who have sacrificed for the rights of all people.
Nancy Adams, mayor right now, Maplewood, third term on the Township Committee, starting my fourth. Whereas South Orange and Maplewood community leaders are working together to annually shine a spotlight on Women's History Month with events and promotion of local women-owned businesses, and to celebrate women's empowerment and to focus on women in history who fought for our rights and whose lives changed the course of history. Now, therefore, on behalf of the rest of Maplewood Township Committee and South Orange Village, I have Village President in there, Mayor Sheena Collum, and the South Orange Council, I, Nancy Adams, Mayor of the Township of Maplewood, do hereby proclaim March 2025 as Women's History Month in the townships of Maplewood and South Orange. And now, if everyone in here who's wearing white or has something white they can show, please join us for a photo, for our annual photo. Can I get Pat or somebody to help get this out of the way? Thanks.
Thank you.
Margaret and Alex from their office. I think they skewed it out, but they were here for the picture and here for the event.
Really sick.
So thank you, everyone, for your indulgence. But after years and years and years of no attention, no gratitude, no credit given to women throughout history, seriously, they're not even in the history books. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun. It was it's become a really nice tradition. I'm pleased to have been a part of it all these years. So with that, where are we? Okay, boards and committee appointments. Ms. Fritzen,
Yes, Mayor.
boards and committee appointments. We have a zoning board. James Fant
Yes,
for appointment through 12/31/28. I don't know if he's online, but
he was not invited. to come.
okay,
So
it's just
reappoint.
reappointed. Okay, not just reappointed, but reappointed. Okay, so I'll make a motion to reappoint James Fant to the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Can I have a second?
Second.
Single,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Now we'll move into our Board of Health meeting.
Except our health officer, Ms. Davenport, got delayed, I
Oh,
believe.
Yes. We'll be here shortly.
that's right. She wasn't here for the picture.
She wasn't.
She had white on today, too.
So should we
Okay.
skip around the agenda and wait for Ms. Davenport?
Yes, we'll
to-
do that.
There are ordinances.
Sure.
Shouldn't be long.
Well, right now we'll go to public comment, agenda items only. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to the Township Committee? Seeing none. Is there anyone on Zoom who would like to speak to the Township Committee about agenda items?
If anyone joining on Zoom would like to speak on agenda items, please raise your hand now. I see no hands, Mayor.
Thank you. Is Mr. DeLuca back with us?
He is with us, yes.
Okay. if he'd like to put it, he doesn't have to put his camera on, but. All right, so with no public comment for agenda items, we'll move into introduction of ordinances. We'll start with ordinance 3147-25. Ms. Fritzen.
Yes, Mayor, on introduction, ordinance 3147-25 is an ordinance to amend chapter 53 of the Township Code entitled Environmental Advisory Committee. This ordinance amends the current Environmental Advisory Committee ordinance to reflect changes in the number of committee members, promote diversity within the committee, and clarify the election of committee leadership.
Okay, can I get a motion for this ordinance, Ms. Engel?
Yes, I haven't done this in a long time. Here we go. I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading, its publication according to law in the Maplewood South Orange News Record, and a hearing to be held on March 18th, 2025.
I second.
Roll call?
Ms. Engel,
Yes.
Ms. Herman,
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Next ordinance number 3148-25.
Yes, Mayor, also on introduction, 3148-25 is an ordinance to amend chapter 271 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Zoning and Development Regulations with respect to uses in the commercial and industrial zoning district. This ordinance will amend section 271-70F of the Township Code to add permitted and accessory uses in the commercial and industrial CI zoning district.
Thank you. Move the passage of this ordinance on first reading, its publication according to law in the Maplewood South Orange News Record, and a hearing to be held on March 18th.
I second.
Oops.
Ms. Engel,
Yes.
Ms. Herman,
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Moving on, we have administrative reports.
I have no report tonight, Mayor.
You have no report?
Nothing.
Nothing's going on?
Lots of things, but nothing. to
Lots of
report
things,
on
but
right
nothing worthy of a report.
Mm.
Got it. Any questions for our administrator, Mr. Worry? Seeing none. Go to our township attorney, Ms. Credidio.
Good evening, Mayor. Very brief report. As we discussed at our last meeting, the legislature did approve and actually the acting governor signed the legislation to extend usage of online newspapers for public notices until the end of June. Hopefully they will resolve it definitively without the need for a further extension. Also, you may have seen in the news, there are a number of suits being filed by the New Jersey Builders Association with respect to towns that sought to modify their affordable housing number. Pretty much the suits are being filed in any town that modified its number in any way. Maplewood did not modify its number.
Right.
And all of the actions are proceeding through the declaratory judgment route as required by the statute.
Okey-doke. Any questions for our township attorney? Nope. Okay, you're off the hook. We'll go to township clerk.
Report.
No, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Any questions for our clerk?
No.
No? Okay.
Mayor,
And I know, I see, I'm we're gonna delay our reports from elected officials. Ms. Davenport, I hope everything's okay. Committee member Engel, I'll turn the Board of Health meeting over to you.
thank you, Mayor. Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2025 to the News Record and Star Ledger in December 2024, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Mayor Adams,
Here.
Mr. Daffis, Mr. DeLuca, I'll show him remote. Ms. Herman,
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Here.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires all meetings be open to the public, whereas Section 7 provides that the Board of Health has the discretion to prohibit, regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting. And whereas desire the Maplewood Board of Health to comply with the provision of this act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner. Now therefore be it resolved by the Maplewood Board of Health, the Township of Maplewood does hereby prohibit except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in deliberations of the Board of Health, and does limit the public to observations of the actions and discussions of the Board of Health at all its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second. Roll call?
I'm looking at it. Mayor Adams, this one's a little bit different. Mayor Adams,
Yes.
Ms. Herman,
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Might be easier if I look at the people.
Thank you. I move to approve the Board of Health meeting minutes from February 4th, 2025.
Second.
Mayor Adams,
Yes.
Ms. Herman,
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes. Now I will send this over to Ms. Davenport.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Is your mic on?
Put up the presentation. Okay, thank you very much. We'll start off with our nursing update. We had one reportable disease investigated, and the 5 immunization audits were our childcare facilities. Next slide. There is a shortage of blood, and so the county is doing a blood drive on Friday, March 21st from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. At the Essex County Hall of Records in Newark. We strongly encourage people to donate. They're looking for all types, O, A, B, and AB. So please, if you can donate and have not donated recently, please encourage everyone to donate to save a life. 1 pint of blood saves 3 lives. Measles in New Jersey, just to bring you up to date of what you see in the news, these are the list of, or the areas of outbreaks across the United States that we're monitoring for measles outbreak. In New Jersey, we had 3 cases of measles in Bergen County. The most significant one here is the measles outbreak that's still ongoing in Texas. Next slide. This is just to highlight the information that is on the CDC website. Please note that the information on this measles outbreak is only updated once a week. So this is the information as of February 28th. There were 164 total cases in the United States. 95% of those are unvaccinated or unknown vaccination status. While a week ago or 2 weeks ago, we had about US 25% hospitalizations, and now we're down to 20, which is a very good thing. We unfortunately had 1 death, confirmed death due to measles, and that was in a child. Next slide. So on that note, we can't emphasize enough the importance of vaccines. So if you're in need of vaccines for children, there is a free state program called Vaccines for Children, and the county is providing them on March 5th, which is tomorrow, March 12th, and March 19th. Please take advantage of that if needed. Thank you. Next slide. So another thing, as we are looking to look for volunteers in our community, the county is reviving the Medical Reserve Corps. Some of you may remember it from a couple of years past, where they're looking for someone who's a medical professional, licensed medical professional, active or inactive, and someone who's passionate about improving public health. This is a volunteer program where you'd be involved during an emergency or natural disaster. So if you would like to learn more, there is a link to go to, and there's a training, and we hope that people will take advantage of this great opportunity to make a difference and join other passionate volunteers and also help the township when needed. Next slide. Moving on to avian flu H5N1. So besides many of the other things we're looking at, like measles, on February 21st, there was an infected poultry identified at the Union County Live Bird Market. So just want to emphasize that there have been no recent reports in cattle, no human infections in the state, but the state is still monitoring wild bird flocks. And now that we have infected poultry, we are now looking at domestic poultry and fowl. So this is a concerning and growing issue, especially the fact that it's in Union County. So again, to emphasize anyone who has backyard chickens, or works in live bird markets or works with animal control to please wear personal protective equipment at this time. Next slide. Again, just to emphasize that there are 3 agencies working on this disease and monitoring it. So if you find a sick or dead wild bird, please call the DEP hotline. If you have a sick or dead domestic bird like poultry, please call the Department of Agriculture. Next slide. And this is, again, just to reduce your risk of exposure to H5N1. Again, if you work with fowl or with wildlife, or if you are an animal control person, please wear PPE in contact. If you're a resident, please do not have contact with wild birds. If you see a sick or wild bird, please just report it and do not touch it. There is no risk to humans for eating food from chickens, like eggs. But we do recommend, as always, for people to cook it to the appropriate internal temperature before consumption. And please do not drink or eat unpasteurized milk or dairy products. Next slide. Moving on to more environmental health, for the month of February, our REHS inspectors conducted 13 restaurant inspections, 1 re-inspection, and 13 daycare inspections. They also had 13 complaints and 19 notices of violations and 1 summons. Next slide. This is the data for January and February for animal control solutions. As you can see, they're comparable from one month to the other. In January, we did not have any wildlife calls, but in February, there was an increase in wildlife calls. Next slide. As we move on to social services and mental health, our crisis intervention social workers have been very busy. I just want to emphasize that 19 for the month of February is one of the highest we've ever had since we started this program, with 17 new cases. 9 of those 19 cases were co-response, and 15 were clinical cases. Next slide. I added this one additional slide that wasn't included in the Township Committee slides, but March 24th, there will be a virtual Narcan training from Rutgers and our partners at ADAPT. It's a free program, and you can attend the virtual training and get a free Narcan kit. And if you'd like to register, the information is there. So we hope that everyone will be educated about Narcan and how to use it, especially those who are caregivers of people who are on pain medication or on other medications that would need Narcan for assistance. Next slide. And finally, we have to make the right call. This is our slide, and always will probably be our end slide, because we can't emphasize enough the importance of these phone numbers, especially when people are in mental health crisis. Please call 988. All of these numbers are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and so we hope that everyone will make the right call in the event of an emergency. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davenport. Any questions for our health officer from my colleagues? Mayor Adams.
Yeah, I just had a question about the reporting out that we may or may not be getting from the federal government on reports. I can't remember which slide it was early on.
Measles.
Measles, right, that we're only getting once a week
Their
report.
reporting is the reporting on outbreaks is once a week, according to their website. So everything I'm reporting to you is as updated as I can get it from Friday. So that's where we are with the federal government and their data.
Are you noticing any other deficiencies, if you will, on information or things that we would normally get from?
Not at this time, although we are always interested in when they say that there's going to be, and they put it blatantly on the front page, like expect information only at this time. If we need any localized information, we can always go to the state, and of course we track locally, but if we want regionally or statewide, the state will provide it. But if you wanted national data, which I wanted to provide, CDC is only providing measles outbreak data once a week.
And yeah, I'm just concerned what we don't know. Or
Yeah.
what we're not going to know because they're not contacting all the health departments around the country.
Right. We are very concerned about that as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We missed you at the Wear White for Women.
I missed you too.
Any other
Y'all look lovely.
questions from Ms. Herman or Mr. DeLuca?
We missed you.
Then we
look
will
lovely
open this up to the public. If anyone has any questions for our health officer here in this room? No, then Mr. Wary, will you help facilitate?
If any members of the public would like to speak in public portion of the Health Department meeting, please raise your hand now. I see no hands.
Then I move that we adjourn to our next scheduled meeting on Tuesday, April 1st, 2025.
April Fool's Day health meeting. You should do something really fun in your report.
We do, we will.
I'll second.
Mayor Adams,
Yes.
Ms. Herman,
Yes.
Engel.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davenport. Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you. We've done administrative reports and we're moving on to reports from elected officials. Deputy Mayor, you're up.
All right, I do have a report. So last week I got to visit Jesby House and I enjoyed meeting the clients there and seeing where the new Jesby House Center will go. Jesby is based in South Orange, but many of their residents actually do a day program here in Maplewood, right down on Valley. So that was really exciting to see. This week is Read Across America, and I was thrilled to be able to read to a class at Delia Bolden today. And I'm excited to read to some Tuscan students later this week.
Yeah, I'm reading on Thursday.
Yeah. The Parker Bike Lane meeting, the first of 3 that we're having on Mondays, was last night. It was so wonderful to see many people come out, and we had a really productive conversation. There's 2 more coming up. At our Recreation Advisory Committee meeting, we talked about the proposed field update at DeHart. The current proposal would eliminate the softball field, which is not used for recreation, softball, villagers softball, or suburban softball, so that the whole field can be one grass field, roughly the size of 2 high school soccer fields. This is something we also ran past the MSO softball committee, and we're continuing to seek public input on this as we move forward in making that field the best that it can be. Also in rec, I want to say a huge congratulations to our MAPSO basketball teams, many of which made the championships. Very, very exciting. They had these shirts made up that said MAPSO versus everyone. Very cool. And speaking of basketball, tryouts are tomorrow for the spring travel program, and spring pickleball and spring tennis are also coming up. They start next month as well. In the Health and Community Services Committee, we discussed, had a big discussion on field, facility, and program rates. Many of these have not increased since 2010. So we're looking at some changes to be made there. In arts and culture, we just came off a really, really busy Black History Month. We had 30 events. It was amazing. Last Friday, we had the Ramadan moonlighting with about 80 people there. It was really, it was another wonderful event. The mayor is going to tell you all about the Women's History Month coming up now. Next week, we have another very exciting thing that we've been waiting on for a very long time, and that is the ribbon cutting for the electric senior bus. So that will be next Wednesday at noon at the Maplewood Community Center at DeHart Park. A few other dates to keep in mind. Our egg hunt is on April 12th. Our softball parade is on April 26th, and our health fair and bike rodeo is coming up on May 3rd. And my last announcement is to follow us on Instagram so that you can be aware of all of these exciting things that we're doing and all these dates. Our Instagram handle is @MaplewoodTWP. And go to our website and sign up for our newsletter. Again, you don't want to be left out of any of these things. And that's it.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any questions? Nope. Mr. DeLuca, you're up next.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of quick things that Deputy Mayor Herman mentioned. The Parker Avenue Bike Lane meeting, our next one is Monday, March 10th at 7:30. It's on Zoom. And you can get that information on the Township website. And also Black History Month was terrific this year. And we'll be having a debriefing. We'll be getting all of our partners reaching out to them and find out what we can do better. And Ms. Engel, you and I have to start working on 4th of July.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah. And I just want you to see that I'm
Excited.
also wearing white. I ironed it last night and didn't get a chance to wear it here, so I'm sitting in my room. But I am wearing white in honor of all of the women.
I didn't hear the end of his.
He's wearing white in
Oh,
honor of all the
thank you.
women. We missed you, Mr. DeLuca.
Any questions for Mr. DeLuca? Seeing none, we'll move on to committee member Engel.
Thank you. I sent you guys a couple graphics. I don't know if you got it to share. Did you get any
Graphics
of
to
them? Okay, so we'll start with YouthNet. YouthNet has a great high school summer intern program where they partner with local businesses and nonprofits and offer mentorship and internship opportunities. So they're currently recruiting local businesses and nonprofits to mentor high school student interns for this program. You can email internship@somayouthnet.org or visit somayouthnet.org for more information. And I believe they have now posted a list of, don't worry about it, Mr. Wary. I believe they have now posted a list of FAQs so you can get more information. And our clerk, I know, had an intern last summer, and she helped create the new resident guide that is on our website. And it was a really valuable resource for us and our residents to have. And I believe it was a valuable resource for our deputy clerk and clerk to have an intern. And so we highly recommend this program, and I hope people will all sign up. Moving on March 23rd is the 48th annual SOMA Interfaith Holocaust Remembrance Service. This year, it'll be held in South Orange. It starts at 3 o'clock with a March of Remembrance and Hope from Spiota Park in South Orange, and then we will walk up to Congregation Bethel at 4 p.m. for the Remember and Tell service. Together, we'll stand in solidarity with Soma Holocaust survivors and honor the 6 million Jewish victims and the millions of others murdered by the Nazi regime. It's a really powerful service. Many clergy in the community come, elected officials, Holocaust survivors, and I definitely recommend people come and support because we need to remember and tell and keep telling these stories so that they're not forgotten. And then last, I'm guessing our mayor will talk about this, but just in case, I want to just do a shout out and mention for the Unsung Sheroes event coming up on Wednesday, March 19th at 6:30 at the Loft at SOPAC. Many women in both Maplewood and South Orange will be honored, including some of our business owners and employees and residents, and it should be a really fun time. You do have to register. Last year it sold out. It's a really fun event. I highly recommend it. And that is my report.
Thank you, Ms. Engel. Any questions? None? All right. So yes, of course, I'll be covering Women's History Month a little bit. But first, I just want to thank all the women who came out tonight, elected, former elected, just women who want to empower other women. And I think it was a really fun time. Assemblywoman Hall made the time to come here. I know former Assemblywoman Mila J.C. really wanted to be here, but she had something to deal with her 100-year-old mom, which is, if she doesn't mind me sharing, she reconnected with someone she went to school with who is older than her. So she had to help her mom get her hair done and get all ready for this little event at Ms. Daisy's house. So that was kind of fun. I was like, okay, you can miss. And also thanks to Congresswoman Cheryl's office for had 2 representatives here tonight, Margaret and Alex. And it was it's just a really nice event to just kind of take a moment to recognize all the things that women have done for our country and our world and our community. So in that light, we do have, Mr. Ray, can you share that website, please? I had to say please because you had. So just if you want information on any of the events going on for Women's History Month, somawomen.org is the website. I could share it, but I'm not on Zoom. We want to make sure everybody knows where to find that, and it gets updated pretty regularly. Tonight's proclamation and Wear White for Women. If you could go up to events on the top left, there's also, as you can see at the top, there's a tab for books. We have a book list from our library up there. So we just did that, and then we have, these are the things, that was also this evening, and obviously we couldn't be there for that women's talk. In both our main business districts, Springfield Avenue and Maplewood Village, we have women's art, local area community women's art being displayed in many of the businesses' windows for the month of March. So Windows for Women is back, which is great. Then we have a literary event on Sunday, March 9th, and that's in South Orange. Then we have a Duran Hedden event that's doing the power of Edith Wilson is to talk about Rebecca Boggs Roberts, and that's at the Woodland in the parlor. And then after that, we go to a reception, walk over to Duran Hedden for a reception. Women's History Books Now and Then discussion is at the Hilton branch of the library on the 13th. And you can scroll fast. This one is cool. We've got a ton of submissions for the 1978 art exhibition in honor of Women's History Month. This is for young women and girls and their art submissions. So the opening for that is March 15th at 2:00. And then it runs for the rest of March. So that's pretty exciting for community kids too. So that, and then what Ms. Engel was referring to is the Unsung Sheroes of 2025 will be held at SOPAC. This is an event we started last year, and basically we have different categories for women who are not necessarily forward facing, like not women who, unlike tonight when we read the proclamation, it's not women who have been elected, but it's women in the community who there's public service, and we're honoring Stacy Ross Trevor, who works for our Arts and Culture Division, so for all that she does. So we'll be honoring women in the community who do a lot for this community, go above and beyond, and but aren't recognized. So we'll be recognizing them there. Then we have the afternoon dances on March 23rd. And then Ladies of Laughter is at SOPAC also. So we all need a laugh if we can still laugh for free. If we still have the freedom to laugh on March 27th, given what's going on, hopefully that'll be someplace to go. So, and I just wanted to thank who was it, put the bike, what's the group called that? Bike ride? Walk, bike ride, thank you. Sorry, by bumbling. For the Crossing Guard Appreciation Breakfast yesterday was very nice. And we just need to thank our crossing guards because they get our kids to school. And we also encourage kids to walk to school to the extent that they can. And we're working on, as both Ms. Herman and Mr. DeLuca mentioned, looking into some bike lanes and stuff. So with that, unless anyone has any questions, we'll move on to the consent agenda. All right, it's not that long. Can I get a motion for the consent agenda?
I move the consent agenda.
There you go.
Second?
Okay.
Nicole,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Now we come to public comment on any subject matter for anyone who wants to say anything or has concerns or questions of the Township Committee. Now is the time. Is there anyone online, Mr. Weary?
If anyone joining on Zoom would like to speak in public portion, please raise your hand now. I see no hands, Mayor.
Okay. Well, then that's it. We have a motion to adjourn our meeting for this evening. If anyone wants to make that motion.
I just want to mention that this might be the shortest meeting ever without the men.
Yeah, I think without the men, we get things done a lot more quickly. Okay. That's really interesting. I think everyone should keep that in mind at election time.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second that motion, Ms. Pritzman.